Hey guys, and welcome to Project Premium Harvest. My name is Matt. In today's video, I'm going to be going over weekly pay ETFs from Roundhill. This is something that wasn't really on my radar. These funds have came out about 4 weeks ago, or at least there have been 4 different distribution payments. And I'm like, you know what, maybe I should make a video on it to make a determination. Hey, is this even worth investing into? But as you guys can see here, I have the Roundhill site up for weekly pay, and the Roundhill Weekly Pay ETF suite is an innovative fund series designed for investors seeking weekly income and amplified exposure to single stocks. These first of their kind ETFs aim to provide weekly distributions and enhanced returns equal to 120% of a given single stock's calendar week price return before fees and expenses. And they have 3 different points that are highlighting: weekly distributions. Weekly pay ETFs pay distributions every week, offering a recurring income stream for shareholders. Enhanced exposure is number 2. Weekly pay ETFs seek to amplify returns by targeting 120% of their reference stock's weekly performance. And point number 3 is their powerful combination of weekly pay ETFs provide a potentially powerful combination of single stock leverage and weekly income. To me, that's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. So let's actually take a look at the funds themselves, look at their different share price, how much distributions. At the end of the day, are you going to even have a total return? So let's go over the spreadsheet. Okay, so starting off with the first weekly pay by Roundhill, we're going to go over nvdy, and that's basically based off of NVIDIA. So as you guys can see, the inception price is going to be $50 a share, and the all-time high price is also $50 a share. This fund has not made money since its inception, right? Kind of like my other videos recently, it has been a relatively downward trend in the market, a little bit of a correction. I wouldn't consider it a bear market because, you know, we still haven't met that criteria, but it's definitely a correction at the least. But let's take a look. For the most recent weekly pay distribution for nvdy, that's going to be about 55 cents, which is actually quite impressive, right? But the share price is now at $40 a share. But let's start looking at the total premium. So the total premium since its inception, so about 4 payments, and this pays weekly, so it's been about $1.35. We see the total number of distributions or payments is 4, and the average distribution is about 33, almost 34 cents a share. If you look at the share price change in value since the inception price, so these two numbers are going to be the same as the all-time high and the inception, because at the inception was the all-time high. And by looking at that, this fund is down 19.9%. And if we look at the total return, so we're basically throwing in the distribution in addition to the share price, it is negative 17.18%. So is this fund good enough for you to invest in? Just taking a unbiased approach, we are looking at negative numbers here, and we should not be investing in negative numbers. Could this fund get better in the near term or the future? Yes, but as of right now, I wouldn't invest in these funds until you can see they make a profit. Okay, and the last data point here is the average share price. The average share price of this fund is about $40.89. So theoretically, if you can get buy-in below this number, you're doing great. However, it's only been 4 weeks. Cool. We're going to go over to TSW. Okay, so looking at TSW. So TSW is the Tesla weekly payer for these weekly pay from Roundhill. And if we scroll over to the inception price is $50 a share, and the all-time high is also $50 a share. It has not made money since inception. Like we said earlier, potential market correction may have impacted this. This could be a great product, but we just don't know. But with that being said, the most recent distribution payment from TSW is about 32 cents, close to 33 cents. And if we look at the total amount of premium paid since this fund has been incepted, is about $1.17. Number of distributions only out for 4 weeks, so 4 distributions. And the average price per distribution is about 29 cents a share. If we look at the share price change in value, is about negative 40.56%. And if we look at the total return, as I said earlier, we're also throwing in that premium payment along with the share price. So now that is the total return. We're at negative 38.2%. And then the all-time high numbers are going to be exactly the same because it's the same all-time high of $50, right? So same thing with NVIDIA, correction market, but also Tesla is kind of getting beaten down because of bad sentiment. A lot of people are not, I won't say a lot of people, but certain side of the aisle is targeting Tesla because of how Elon Musk is politically leaning. Therefore, I think Tesla over this next, couple month period is not going to be too hot. And just kind of throwing this note out here, Tesla earnings are coming out in April 22nd. So I'm almost tempted to buy a couple of puts against Tesla, because if they showcase that they're not having a good amount of sales, that stock price, even though it has been going down already, is going to continue to go down, because that confirms our suspicions that yes, car companies, there's losing demand. It's not a good thing. It's losing demand, losing sales. It's not what investors want to see. They want to see steady upward growth. Investors are going to get out once they see those numbers are lower. But that's just kind of a side tangent. All right, we talked about TSW. Now let's go over to COIW, which is the Coinbase. Okay, so for the Coinbase weekly pay by Roundhill, the inception price was $50 and the all-time high was also $50. And the most recent distribution from last week was going to be 18 cents. And the total premium paid from this specific fund is about $1.40 a share, or per share. Right, we talked about number of distributions. We're only seeing 4. And the average distribution per share is about 35 cents. And now let's talk about the share price value since the inception. This price is down at negative 35.82%. And then if we incorporate the distribution payment into the share price, the total return is negative 33.01%. So therefore, right, if we're doing a unbiased opinion or where we think future forecasts are going to go with crypto, this is not a good look for investing into. The last data point is the average share price, and the average share price for this fund is about $35.41. That's Coinbase weekly pay by Roundhill. Let's move over to the next one, which is AAPW, which is the Apple weekly pay by Roundhill. Inception price $50, all-time high $50. The last distribution for this weekly pay for Apple is about 12 cents a share. If you look at the total premium since inception, it's about 79 cents, almost 80 cents, right? We already talked about number of distributions. We're seeing 4. And the average distribution per share is about, or per payment is about 19 cents a share. If you look at the share price change in value since its inception, we are down negative 14.5%. And then if we throw in the distribution in addition to that share price, we are negative 12.91%. So we still not have made a profit for APPY. Looking at the all-time high numbers, they will be exactly the same as the inception because share price is the same. And if you look at the average share price for this fund, it's about $45.69. It's only been about 4 weeks and it's now trading at $42. So not too hot. Okay. Moving on to PLTW, which is going to be our last fund. Okay, so lastly, we are looking at PLTW, which is the Palantir weekly pay by Roundhill. We are inception price at $50, all-time high is also at $50. The last distribution payment for PLTW was 47 cents a share. If you look at the total premium since this fund has been incepted, it's about $1.29 per share. And number of distributions 4, because it's only been out for about 4 weeks. The average distribution per share is about 32 cents. And we're going to the most important part. Is the investment worth it? So the share price change in value since inception is about negative 31.96%. If we throw in the distribution in addition to that share price change in value, we're only down at negative 29.38%, but that is still bad, right? It's a negative number. We don't want to see that. And the all-time high values are going to be the same as the inception values because they're the same price. And if we look at the average share price, it's $32.21 per share when this fund started out 50. So this is an absolute garbage of an investment. Don't do it. Don't be that investor that hopes that something's going to change with no actual track record of something changing. So here are my 2 cents on weekly pay. Could this potentially be a good investment mechanism? Sure, but I'm not seeing anything here that would justify me buying the fund and holding on to it to get the distributions and the potential 120% return. Okay, guys, so that wrapped up the video. That's really all I have for this. We looked at the 5 different weekly pay by Roundhill. And just from my observations, I tried to give the data in an unbiased way. And just looking at where the share price started to where it is today and versus the amount of premium you're getting, this is not something I personally would invest in. However, you guys can make your own decisions. We're all adults here, right? It is your money. And if you think this is something that you're interested in, go for it. I personally would advise against it because every number you have seen so far is a negative number. That is not a good formula for success if you're investing in negatives. And there's no track record of this fund showing that it can move upward. So therefore, I would hold off in investing. Maybe in 6 months from now, there's a complete 180 turnaround and these funds are actually performing better than yieldmax, performing better than kurv, but we do not see the data to support that. So therefore, I'm not investing in these funds, and I hope you don't either. I'm not a spokesperson for anybody. I'm just giving my unbiased opinion. But with that being said, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section if this video is helpful. I like to provide value to my viewers, and hopefully this did provide value. But yeah, guys, that wraps the video. Hope you're doing well out there. Matt out, and I will see you in the next one.